Hey everyone, welcome to the Orange and Black Insider Bengals podcast. I am Anthony Cosenza, and we are bringing you an episode, a little bit of a different format than usual. We're kind of trying to switch some things up, try some new things on this show. We've teased it. If you've watched this show for the past couple of weeks and months, we've kind of teased this a little bit, but we are going to try a couple of new things, one of which is an episode like today where we're going to talk about just kind of some news and notes, catch up on some different things going on with the Cincinnati Bengals around the NFL, and really maybe even a little bit of pop culture. Who knows? We'll see what's going on. Check it out. We're going to try and do this to kick off your week on Mondays every week, whether it's myself or John Sheeran, the other co-host of the Orange and Black Insider. We're going to try and get you caught up with all of the news regarding the Cincinnati Bengals, some news around the NFL. That way we tee up for the rest of the week. We'll continue our in-depth, our deep dive into Cincinnati Bengals topics on our usual Wednesday night show. And if you haven't caught that show yet, we've had guests on there like Ken Anderson, Marcus Bailey, Solomon Wilcots, Adrian Ross, all kinds of different people on the weekly Orange and Black Insider Bengals podcast, hosted by myself and John Sheeran. So check that one out. And then, of course, we're going to start adding in listener questions live once again at the end of the week, usually on Friday afternoons. We'll try and reinstitute that on a more regular basis so we get your questions on the air. You get to call us, you get to text us, you get to email us, all that stuff. We're going to get back with all of that. And really, we're trying to get this going once again because the start of the season is coming up pretty soon in terms of training camp, potentially preseason, etc. So we're going to try and get you more material. And then there's also the other slate of podcasts on the Cincy Jungle podcast channel. Orange is the New Black by Ace Boogie and Zim Hude. Sorry if I spit when I speak, by Daddy-O McDuke and Dr. Hoji Smoji. By the way, they just had Marcus Bailey on their program as well, so go check that out. That's a new one. And then, of course, you got Matt Minnick, who is part of our YouTube channel. He does his own audio podcast, but does the film study and all of that. So we're trying to get you stuff throughout the entire week. These mini episodes, we're going to be here. I'm going to be here probably for about 10 or 15 minutes here, hopefully. These episodes are going to be, for now, exclusively available on our YouTube channel and the Cincy Jungle Facebook page. They'll be up on cincyjungle.com as well. But get the show how you can. Subscribe to those channels. Subscribe to our audio podcast as well. If we get some good reception on these episodes, we'll start adding them to the audio slate of podcasts. But for now, definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. Definitely subscribe to like the Facebook page on cincyjungle.com. And then, of course, get all of the audio podcasts subscribed there. I believe the subscribe button for those tuning in later should be right in this corner here on our YouTube channel. So click that button and be sure to subscribe to our channels after you watch our videos. So let's get this teed up here. I put this link at the top of the chat. We're gonna cheat a little bit here. We're gonna use the Bengals news and notes of Monday. We're gonna use a little bit of that, and then I've also scoured Twitter a little bit for some different topics we're gonna go over. We're gonna go over them pretty quickly, not super in depth, but want to show you what's going on. That way, you can also go to the links. We want to credit the proper people who are putting this material out, so you can go to those links and read them further for yourself, but want to get you caught up on a lot of different things. So here are good buddies, Jess and Jeremy, who's Bengal captain, and his lovely wife are donning the cincyjungle.com news and notes page here. This is put up by Patrick Judas, and you can see here there are a lot of different things here. Some kind of lighthearted, some a little bit more serious. Let's start with the serious ones first. You can see here, based on a report, this is from MSN.com. AJ Green expected to play under the franchise tag. There's another one, I think, right here. Contract rumors from Bleacher Report. You can click on those. Essentially, it's saying that, as expected, AJ Green is going to be playing under the franchise tag, not expected to get a long-term deal as that deadline closes in mid-July. So that, unfortunately, I think a lot of people would have liked to have maybe seen, including myself, would have liked to have seen AJ Green maybe get a 2 or 3 year deal, parlay that franchise tag, maybe into a bit more of a manageable number over the next cap number over the next couple of years. But it appears that that's not going to happen. I think not only obviously the injuries that he has suffered over the last 3-4 years and significant ones is playing into this. Also, I think the COVID crisis and the team not really being able to see AJ Green much in person. The team drafted T. Higgins this year, so they've got a little bit of an ace in the hole. I don't think T. Higgins is ever going to be AJ Green per se. That's not a slight on T. Higgins. I think he's going to be a very good pro for this team. But, AJ Green is a very special player, especially when healthy. So, I think the Bengals may feel that they've maybe have a little bit of leverage here in terms of not giving up big money on a long-term deal. That doesn't mean that after this season, AJ Green won't sign with the Bengals on a long-term deal, but we will see. It sounds like he is going to play under that 1-year deal, and at least for 2020, depending on what football looks like in 2020, at least it sounds like AJ Green will be a target for Joe Burrow. Let's hope he stays healthy, not only for the team's success, for Joe Burrow's success, but also for AJ Green to, make himself, I guess worthy of a long-term deal and getting a longer extension after this year. Hopefully it's with the Bengals. Hopefully he proves himself worthy of that and stays healthy this year. So AJ Green, again, this one is from MSN. And then there's also another one down here from bleacherreport.com you can click on and read. So check those out. I think that those are some worthwhile articles for you to read about AJ Green. Again, kind of expected news, but is a little bit more on the serious side as opposed to other pieces of news, like the one that is the top headline here, courtesy of Cincinnati.com, which is the Inquirer. T. Higgins. Here's an entertaining video. T. Higgins hears about his Madden NFL 21 rating from Chad Johnson. T. Higgins was actually the 8th highest rated wide receiver of the rookie class. I think he came in at 71. His run blocking was like in the 40s, and he got a good chuckle out of that. So check out that video. Pretty interesting. Unfortunately, T. Higgins, kind of got slighted a little bit in terms of a Madden rating. For those of you who play Madden football, you would know that in recent years, they've really kind of tried to cap at least the immediate high ratings of rookies to kind of balance out rosters and everything like that. So, at 71, it's not terrible, his overall rating, but I think a lot of people thought he was maybe slighted a little bit. Joe Burrow is the highest rated rookie in the entire game of Madden 21 when that comes out. So I believe he came in at a 76 overall. So, he is the highest rated rookie. Usually that is the case with the number 1 overall pick. The top rated receiver actually in the game is Henry Ruggs, believe it or not Justin Jefferson, not CeeDee Lamb, not Jerry Jeudy. Henry Ruggs came in as the top rookie wide receiver, in Madden 21. So interesting stuff there. This article again is from Cincinnati.com. You can check out the video. It's pretty funny. Chad breaks the news to T. Higgins, and they get a little laugh and, kind of check that out. I'm going to bring up some more here because there's some other items in here talking about, what's going to happen with tailgating and what is going to happen with how the games are played. The Bengals came out, hence why the Conleys were at the top picture on that article there. The Bengals came out and said basically there's going to be no tailgating around the stadium. So it's going to be very interesting to see how people end up doing their tailgates. Some of you know Bengals Jim Foster, a really good friend of this program, and a lot of you follow him on Twitter and Facebook. He has a Sunday Night Football show of his own. Very great guy. Has these high-profile tailgates that are at the stadium, and we're planning on having Jimmy Foster on the show sometime in the near future to talk about what he's going to be doing to create a fan experience in this unique atmosphere and this unique climate around the world, the U.S. and the world. So, it sounds like there's going to be no tailgating around the immediate area of the stadium. Obviously, there are a lot of restaurants and bars, et cetera, around downtown Cincinnati, but is it just going to be an outside event, social distancing, all of that? that's going to be very interesting to see how all of that plays out. You also heard news about the Baltimore Ravens potentially capping their attendance at games at about 14,000. Not really sure what is following suit in terms of what teams are following suit and following that blueprint as to how many fans are going to be allowing into the stadium. My assumption would be there's probably going to be some form of a waiver that people in attendance have to sign. There's going to be social distancing and spacing out. We do have some ideas. I think that the Bengals said they're going to eliminate the first handful of rows from the stadium. And then I want to share this with you. This I thought was interesting. An article from ESPN talking about, for those of you, speaking of the Ravens, here we go right here. Oakley obviously makes the eye shields for helmets and players to use those, whether it's, the visors for eliminating sun and or, potential eye gouging that goes on. But Oakley came up with a mouth shield, potentially, an idea there. And you can see what this looks like a little bit. It's a clear shield, eliminates the amount of, I guess, exhale area of exhale, so that, potentially players, as they play against each other, they're not going to potentially be exposed to someone that may have had the coronavirus or COVID-19. So interesting stuff that Oakley would have come out with this. And this, of course, is courtesy of ESPN.com. This article, you can kind of see, again, the helmet itself. You see the Oakley visor over the eyes. And then, of course, there's a little mouth guard that goes inside of the face mask, which is a little interesting. And, I guess it makes it practical. I think a lot of people understand that the masks in a lot of different scenarios are kind of what's needed and are being asked of people to wear. Obviously, there's, for some folks, a level of discomfort for, especially if you're trying to remain active, go for a walk, what have you. So maybe this is an interesting idea that other companies can also make for other everyday use for other folks not playing football. But I thought this was an interesting thing and something that's going to be part of the landscape here going forward. Another thing we're waiting to hear on is the Washington. I don't even know if I should say the the current name, but the Washington D.C. franchise that is looking to change its mascot and its logo, etc. We've kind of heard some rumors that it is going to be it could be Red Tails. I think that's a callback to the Tuskegee Airmen, which would be kind of neat. The Warriors is a name that has been thrown out for the Washington franchise, kind of still keeping with the Native American heritage, I guess, but keep, maybe broadening that a little bit. I don't really know the mindset there, but those are a couple of names that seem to be kind of at the top of the pile. We're waiting for kind of an official announcement as to what the Washington franchise will do. So interesting stuff. And they, obviously they have been, this has been something that they've received some recent pressure and some recent sponsors, high-end sponsors, pulling back their dollars from the organization in light of everything that's been going on over the past handful of months. But this is not really something new in terms of what the Washington franchise has come under scrutiny for with this mascot. They have this has been something that's been discussed for quite some time. They kind of said it was more of a legacy thing, and they've talked to some Native American officials who are in support of the current name. A lot of others are not. So as of now, it appears that the Washington franchise will be changing its mascot, its name, its nickname, whatever you want to call it, its logo, and we will find out more about that. But I think we're supposed to find out more a little bit later on Monday. So that's coming down the pike. One other thing about the Cincinnati Bengals, going back to ranking their weapons and talking about A.J. Green, we talked a little bit about T. Higgins. This is something that came out on Monday that I thought was also very interesting, courtesy of ESPN.com, if you want to even say courtesy, ranking the offensive weapons of the NFL in terms of, the skill position players, very eye-opening to me. And by the way, this is an article on ESPN.com. I believe it's by who is this one by here? Bill Barnwell. Yep, Bill Barnwell. So he has the Cincinnati Bengals coming in at 23, just ahead of the Las Vegas Raiders. I got to get used to saying Las Vegas Raiders there. You can see here, for those of you tuning into the video, the Bengals were, when they did this rank last year, they were 13th. When they did it the year before in 2018, they were 16th. Barnwell says, if I could pencil in 16 games for sure from A.J. Green for first overall pick Joe Burrow, the Bengals would be further up these rankings. Of course, Green has played just 9 games since the start of 2018 because of groin, toe, and ankle injuries. So that's the big thing here. To me, I think this is pretty absurdly low. I would think that the Bengals should be in the top half if you have Joe Mixon, Giovanni Bernard, T. Higgins, whatever you think of A.J. Green and his health, John Ross, Tyler Boyd, you've got Auden Tate, maybe even if you want to throw in C.J. Uzomah. I think that this seems a bit low for grouping and rating the Bengals' offensive group of weapons. There are a lot of different guys that can do a lot of different things. Tyler Boyd coming off of 2,000-yard seasons. Joe Mixon the same on the ground and adding more as a receiver. Gio Bernard, versatile weapon. A.J. Green, we think he's going to be healthy. Let's cross our fingers on that. But, I was a little bit shocked. I think a lot of people were a bit shocked on that one. So the Bengals come in at 23. Just ahead of them is the Tennessee Titans, obviously Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown. And then, of course, you've got the New England Patriots, which is interesting. They lost Gronkowski. I mean, they didn't have him last year anyway, but they lost Gronkowski to the Buccaneers. They still have Edelman and Sanu. They brought in N'Keal Harry, who was the pick last year. And then, there's a couple of other guys in terms of running backs and stuff. So kind of interesting. I would have felt that the Bengals would have been a little bit higher up this arbitrary list by Barnwell on ESPN.com. But, this is something that comes with the territory when you win 2 games, I suppose. And unfortunately, it also comes with the territory. The one thing I have to say about this that I find validity in is the injuries. I mean, A.J. Green, obviously, he talked about playing 9 games since the start of 2018. John Ross, we know the deal there. You go back to Auden Tate, end of the year on IR, I believe. Tyler Boyd, missed the last couple of games as well. So injuries, and that's maybe why this ranking is where it's at. But I still think that the potential is very high for this group, and I stick with that. I don't know that I necessarily fully agree with the ranking there. Again, this is the Orange and Black Insider Bengals podcast. We're going to get out of here in just a couple of minutes. Thanks for tuning in via Cincy Jungle's Facebook page or our YouTube channel. Again, you can, I think it's this side right here. There, I think it's right there. You'll be able to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, like the Cincy Jungle Facebook page. Go subscribe to our audio podcasts, including this show and many others. There are a lot of different slates. We've had a number of different interviews with current and former Bengals players. So go check out all of that. We appreciate your support. We appreciate you tuning in on this Monday afternoon. Maybe some of you are catching us during your lunch. Maybe you're having brunch on a Monday. I don't know, depending on where you live. But thanks for tuning in and getting your week started with us. Again, we're going to make this kind of part and parcel of starting your week off, get you going with some news and notes. And then we're going to do our Orange and Black Insider Standard show on Wednesday evening that will continue through the season. And then, of course, we will be doing more listener questions. And then you've got stuff from Matt Minnick. You've got stuff from Daddy-O and Hoji. You've got stuff from Ace and Zim. Matt Minnick I mentioned. So, you're going to get a lot of stuff from us at Cincy Jungle in our podcast channel. So if we're not your taste, hopefully one of those guys are, or hopefully we're all your taste, and we bring you something a little different, but we appreciate your support. One other thing I want to mention, given the tailgate thing, I don't want to tease this too much because we're still kind of in development of an idea. As you know, in the season, I usually come and take the air post-game to break down what happened in the game, answer a couple of questions from you all. We'll continue to do that. However, we may, in light of this tailgating news that I talked about earlier, we may do something for a pregame show. We're in talks of doing that as well, figuring out what that may look like, who we can partner up with, where we could do that, if it is going to be virtual, that sort of thing. So if we end up doing any of that, we will let you know. Still in its infancy stages to plan that out, but we'll let you know. Before we get on out of here, we're talking a lot about, the rankings of a lot of different Bengals players and position groups and all of that. One thing I wanted to share was something interesting from Pro Football Focus, again, kind of showing how all over the map opinions can be about Cincinnati Bengals players, skill position players, and one that us on the inside, getting the inside look at the team, feel that there's maybe a little bit of a disparity there. So let me show you this one as well. This is from Pro Football Focus, and it's just a tweet, but this is showing the fantasy football rankings here by Pro Football Focus editors, and you can see here Joe Mixon, the consensus ranking, if you take everybody's ranking here, he's at number 12. Nate Jonke, 24th, is where he has Joe Mixon as a fantasy football option at his position this year. I think, right around top 8, top 10. I think 12 is about as low as I would go in terms of a fantasy football option, or ranking him as a running back in general, talent-wise, in the NFL. But I thought that this was very, very interesting, and especially coming off of the years that Joe Mixon has come off of. Now, I think the one thing, go read this on ProFootballFocus.com, by the way, but I think where they're coming from is the offensive line issues. What's it going to look like with basically a new offense because of a new quarterback? We know that after a couple of productive years, running backs, even really good ones, tend to decline a little bit. So maybe that's where their mindset is, especially with the offensive line issues. But we've seen Joe Mixon, especially late in seasons, overcome some poor offensive line play to still remain productive, get around 1,100 yards. The other thing too, Joe Mixon isn't putting up routinely, 12, 15 touchdowns on the ground. Those are obviously point values in fantasy football. So maybe that's also playing into it. But 24th to me by one of the Pro Football Focus writers was not to put Nate on blast there, but you can kind of see 6, 8, 10, 13, and then 24th. Wow. 24th, I think, would be if Joe Mixon, God forbid, got injured. That's where I would kind of see maybe his ranking drop there. But yes, and Mark Fry, yes, Southwest does have a sale. So you can see there on Twitter. Go check that out. We're going to get on out of here. We did a little NFL talk in terms of the mouth guard from Oakley, what's going on with the Washington franchise, and a lot of other things. We've talked a little bit of Bengals. So go check out all of those articles where I referenced them. I put the link to Cincy Jungle's news and notes where we got a lot of those articles, but a lot of that stuff is also on Twitter. We hope you enjoyed this little kickoff to your week, news and notes. I'll be continuing to do that, as well as my co-host, John Sheeran, will be continuing to do this. If you like it, if you don't like it, think it's dumb, let us know. But if you like it, we're going to continue doing it. We want to get you a lot of different content, and we want to broaden our show as well. Instead of kind of doing the once a week deep dive into analysis and guests and whatnot, we want to give you a full slate of different options so you can check out all of our shows and get what you want and what you need out of your Bengals podcast. That's our goal. But thanks for tuning in. We'll see you Wednesday night. Subscribe to this channel, the YouTube channel, Orange and Black Insider. Get our content as well as some film review from Matt Minnick. You can subscribe to some other YouTube channels with D&H Sports and Orange is the New Black, which is New Stripe City as well. And then get all of our audio podcasts together in the Cincy Jungle podcast channel. And we will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time.